At some point, enjoying things started to feel embarrassing. Not everything, and certainly not all at once, but slowly, quietly, you started to notice this little voice that shows up right before you do something that you actually want to do. It asks something like, "Would this look stupid?" And the weird part is, no one even has to be watching you anymore. You can be completely alone and just still feel like you're being judged. You're not growing out of joy, you're just becoming afraid of being seen enjoying it, even when no one else is there to see it. And I think most people just accepted this as like part of, like growing up. Like, yeah, you stop getting excited about things. That's what maturity looks like. But like I don't think that's true. I think somewhere in your chest you already know it. Like this is where it started for me, okay? I was listening to a song in my room alone, and I caught myself doing this thing where I was like half listening but also watching myself listen from the outside. Like I was already imagining what someone would think if they saw me enjoying some Pink Panthers. Nobody was there. It was just me and my music, but I still felt the need to question my own taste. That just felt wrong. It felt like something just had gone wrong somewhere. Because at some point, the question stopped being, "Do I like this?" and started being, "Would it be embarrassing to like this?" And I think a lot of people are living inside of that gap. Like the word cringe used to mean something specific. It meant something was genuinely uncomfortable to witness, like when someone tries to impress a room, but the room just goes quiet. Like there's a secondhand awkwardness to that. That is what cringe was. But somewhere along the way, cringe started getting used differently. Not just for moments that were actually uncomfortable or awkward where you would like physically cringe, but it started getting used against people who cared like too visibly. Someone got excited about a hobby, oh man, that's cringe. Someone posted something sincere, this guy's so cringe, he's showing his feelings. Someone tried like super hard at something before they were good at, like they were just grinding. Oh, that's cringe. Like they're doing something and they're horrible at it. Like someone likes something without hiding it behind irony, like, oh, that's cringe. That's a completely different thing. There's a massive difference between someone being embarrassed because they misread a room and someone being called cringe because they were visibly excited about something they loved. But unfortunately, the internet just flatlined that. It took two separate experiences and collapsed them into one word. And now caring itself just feels risky. Think about how many things you've pre rejected before anyone else could get to them. Skipping a song when someone walks in the room, not because you don't like it, but because you can't explain why you like it and you don't want to have to. Not wearing something you actually love because you could already like picture the group chat just absolutely roasting you, flaming you for it, or like deleting a post before anyone sees it, or just not posting something at all that you love. Like you tell someone a song is kind of trash when you listen to it 40 times this week. Or like you're making fun of your own interests before someone else can get there first, so that way you can at least control the joke. You didn't stop liking things, you started needing outside permission. And like this is the part that actually gets me. The internet didn't just give people a place to be judged. It gave everyone a permanent, like imaginary audience. And that imaginary audience came with us into private spaces, into moments where no one is watching. Like you're not afraid of actual people judging you in real time. You're afraid of a crowd that only exists in your head, if I'm being honest with you. And the thing about an imaginary audience is that it never gives you a break. A real crowd at least goes home. The one in your head watches you when you eat breakfast. It watches you when you're sitting in the shower, or watches you when you laugh at something you think is funny before you decide whether the laugh is permitted, like whether the laugh is allowed. And most of us just have to accept that, like, this is normal now. Like, the constant low level self surveillance is just part of being a person in this era. But I don't think it's normal. I think we got so used to it that we forgot it wasn't always there. There's this thing that started happening online where irony became the default register for pretty much everything. And not because people are like especially cynical, but because irony is armor. If you act like you don't care about something, then like nobody can embarrass you for caring about it. And that's where people say something like, "Oh, this is so bad, it's so good." Like, you know what I mean? Like before they actually like it, like they'll trash on something by saying it's bad when they actually like it, and like it just really doesn't make any sense. Like, but I guess it does, because if you're already laughing at it, then you can't be caught taking it seriously, and then you're not going to be called cringe. Like that's where the bit where you like ironically enjoy something almost always comes before the part where you admit that you genuinely enjoy it. Because being genuine is just so much scarier than being ironic. Like being genuine gives people something to use against you. But if you keep everything at exactly one level of detachment, then you're safe. But the problem is that, like, that armor doesn't discriminate. It protects you from the mockery, but it also keeps out everything else, like real enthusiasm or like an actual connection or like the specific joy of being the kind of person who gets embarrassingly excited about something. A lot of people don't have boring personalities, they have hidden personalities, the parts they decided were too risky to show everyone. Because here's the thing about people who are visibly passionate about things, even small things and even weird things, they're interesting. Not because passion is always charming, but because you can tell that they're actually there. They're a real person. You can feel that they're a person with an interior life and not just a surface managing impressions and expressions. The detached person is impossible to embarrass, but they're also usually impossible to really know. And that's where I think the fear of cringe becomes like genuinely costly. Not socially costly in some abstract way, costly in the most like practical sense. It's hard to be good at something while pretending you don't care about it. The real version of you is the one that forgets to check how it looks. It's the version that just gets deep into something at 2 in the morning, completely loses track of time, and completely loses track of whether it's going to be like a good story to tell later or not. That version produces the most interesting things. It builds the most honest relationships and just has the most genuine fun. And the internet has just been slowly training you to put this version of yourself away. Now, here's the thing I keep coming back to. Most people are too worried about themselves to actually judge as hard as you think. This sounds obvious and somehow never changes how anyone feels, but you imagine this detailed critique. You imagine someone watching you and cataloging your failures. You imagine a screenshot and a caption in the comments section, but the truth is, almost everyone is running their own version of that same fear about themselves. They're not watching you that closely. They're being busy terrified of their own imaginary audience. That gap between how much you think people notice and how much they actually notice is enormous. And even when someone does see you being enthusiastic about something, the odds are they're not going to think that, oh, this person is so cringe. It's like, it's hopefully a sign of relief for them, or at least that's what I like to believe. Because, like, someone being real is them taking a break from the performance that this person is just so used to being around. Someone's laugh is going to be contagious in a way that performed attachment never is. There's this version of adulthood I think a lot of people quietly arrive at when they've just sort of dimmed themselves. Like, not dramatically, they didn't have a breakdown and nothing really collapsed, but they just slowly stopped doing the things that they just didn't have a good defense for. They stopped singing in public. They stopped talking about things they loved, like without adding a disclaimer beforehand, like I mentioned, or they stopped pursuing the hobbies that felt embarrassing. Like, look what I'm doing right now. I'm posting YouTube videos on a dead channel to practically nobody talking about topics that I find interesting. But you know what I'm talking about? Like, people just stopped letting themselves fully enjoy something without watching themselves enjoy it from the outside, if that makes sense, okay? They call it growing up or getting practical or just being realistic. But I think what actually happened is they got scared and they got used to being scared. They forgot that this wasn't the original plan. Like, the thing I really want to say, and I want to say it as plainly as I can, okay? Cringe is the price of sincerity. You can opt out of both. You can try to never be cringe. You can get very, very good at it. But what you're trading is the ability to be present in your own life. The people who seem the least cringe, the ones who are perfectly curated and perpetually unbothered, are not having any more fun than you. They might be having even less. They've just gotten very skilled at making sure they're never caught caring about anything. And that skill, if you're honest with yourself, just sounds exhausting. It sounds like the loneliest possible way to exist. I'm not saying ignore social awareness entirely. I'm not saying to be like deliberately weird or try to make everyone uncomfortable. I'm saying that there's a difference between reading the room and letting the imaginary room read you. There's a difference between being thoughtful about how you affect other people and preemptively just dismantling yourself so that no possible version of you could ever be found embarrassing. One is being aware of other people, the other is disappearing so nobody can judge you. Maybe the goal was to never be someone who looks embarrassing. Maybe it was to always become someone who can care about something without needing like a panel of imaginary judges to sign off on it first, because that imaginary audience is never going to give you permission. That's not how it works. The version of other people you built in your head will just always find something to say. The comment section of your skull just doesn't close. Like, the only exit is just doing the thing anyway, singing anyway, posting anyway, just doing the hobbies you love without caring what anyone thinks because the other people won't notice. If they do notice, they're gonna forget anyways. But like, more importantly, what I'm trying to say is most of your life is gonna happen in moments where nobody's watching. And I don't want you to spend those moments performing for an audience that was just never real. Being cringe just means you cared enough to let it show. And I think we've been afraid of that for just a little bit too long.